What's up everyone, Vegan Power Strongman. That footage was of Patrick Baboumian doing some 600 kilo yoke. And you don't have to start with the 600 kilogram yoke if you want to get into Strongman. However, in this video I'm just going to go over some ways of training for Strongman and what are some things that I've learned in the first 2 years of my Strongman competitions. And I'll start with what I've learned. Firstly, you're going to make mistakes, and that's fine. There's absolutely no problem with that. Secondly, though, it's important to check out the competitions and find a competition which is right for you. There's no point in entering a strongman competition to qualify for a national competition when you're just beginning, unless you know you're absolutely at that level. Look at Larry Wheels, how he's recently entered Strongman, and you'll see even someone as strong as Larry Wheels, competing in the open class of Strongman. He still went to a more minor competition to start, rather than just trying to go straight to a really big competition and win. And I think he ended up getting second in his first competition. Which was a great result for him. But Larry Wheels is a really strong guy, and he still went for more of a semi-professional comp to start off with. So find a competition that is not too light and not too heavy, a competition that's just right for you. Most competitions have weight classes, different divisions. Sometimes it can just be novice, intermediate, advanced, or pro, and sometimes it's sort of under 80 kilograms, under 90, 105, and open for men, with some different weight classes for women as well in that similar pattern. So find a competition that's right for you. Obviously, with your first competition, not everything's going to go right, but you want it to be realistic. You don't want to be trying to do events that are just too heavy. I've been to competitions in the past where I've found that I wasn't quite at the level. I mean, the competition was really too heavy or too advanced for me at that stage of my training. So that's my first tip. Secondly, if you can get your hands on any equipment, if there's a Strongman gym or a gym with any Strongman equipment, obviously it helps. The more you can use the equipment, even if it's with a really light weight, the better you can refine your technique. So for me, I've had a limitation. I will say a limitation on my success has been the lack of availability of equipment for me. So using farmer's walk implements has helped me a lot. Using any equipment that I've obtained, like a log for log press, has helped me a lot. Using the equipment does help a lot because you can get familiarity with the equipment. It's not like usual stuff you get in the gym. If you're trying to lift a big Atlas stone, it's not the same as a usual deadlift. If you're trying to Jesus, what's going on there? If you're trying to do a heavy yoke, there's nothing like it. So you need to actually practice using the yoke to get a handle of it. So using the equipment really helps. You don't have to use heaps heavy weights, but it's good to get the technique. The other thing I'll say is if you don't have access to the equipment, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Most of my training is without specialist equipment. I'm living in the UK at the moment and training without any strongman equipment. So obviously what you have to do in the gym to build a really strong foundation is to focus on deadlifts, to focus on deadlift variations, to focus on squats and squat variations, to focus on overhead pressing and all those variations. You could do dumbbell press, barbell press, push press, all of those variations. Just on that note, I'll say training bench press obviously helps, but there isn't. Just remember, there's no bench press in the competitions. All of the pressing events are overhead pressing, with the exception of a tire flip. When you flip a tire, there is a pushing phase of that event. So obviously you have to deadlift, well, it's like a deadlift when you're flipping it in the initial part of the movement, and then there's a bit of a push at the top, which is a horizontal pushing movement. But apart from that, most pushing movements are overhead. Training horizontal pressing movements like push-ups, bench press, dumbbell bench press, those sorts of things will still help. However, personally, I wouldn't prioritize your bench press over your overhead press. The other thing I'll say is that the forearms need to be trained a lot for strongman because grip is really important. Farmer's walk is an exercise which just specifically tests your grip. There's lots of other exercises like stone lifting, loading, races, dealing with odd objects like kegs, which really require a strong grip and well-developed forearm muscles. So training your forearms in as many different ways as possible with heavy holds and carries, with reverse curls, anything and everything you like is really important as well. So lastly, I'll just say that you don't have to be a 160 kilogram monster to do strongman. You can compete in the under 80 kilogram category like me. If you're a woman, you can compete in lighter categories as well. If you want to compete in under 90 kilograms or under 105 kilograms, you can do that. You don't have to be really tall, you don't have to be really short, you don't have to be any particular build. To do well in strongman, all you have to do is train strength, power, and strength endurance, a bit of cardio if you need it. Just be as strong as you can in as many different ways as possible, and you can succeed. And the great thing about strongman, if you're thinking of getting into it, is that there are so many different events, so every competition offers something new. And I mean, I've been doing strongman for a couple of years now, and my next competition, there's at least 2 or 3 events I've never done before. And people can do strongman for 10 plus years and still find events at competitions that they've never done before. So there's always something new, and that diversity is the spice of life, isn't it? So for that reason, it's an awesome thing to do. Anyone can succeed, and that is, for me, the best thing about the sport. And everyone supports each other, and even your opponents usually really support you, because everyone wants to see the biggest weights, the quickest times, and the greatest feats of athleticism. So if you're looking to get into strongman, have a think about the tips in this video, check out some other content on the internet, get training hard and heavy, eat well, sleep, rest, and find a competition and enter. That's it. Take it easy, and check out some of my other content on strongman. If you haven't already, if you don't know what strongman is, check out my video, Strongman, the Ultimate Quest for Strength. Like, subscribe, share.